Okay, it is Tuesday, March 17th, 2020. Personnel and Human Services will come to order, please. Roll call. Here. 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 Thank you. We have the minutes of February 18th. What's your pleasure? They've been moved and supported. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by the usual sign. Aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, carried. Public input. If there's anyone attending today that wishes to address the committee, now's your time to do so. Seeing none, we'll move on to Petitions and Communications from the Director of Recreation and Facilities. Neighbors of the base advertising agreement. Been moved, supported. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by the usual sign. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, carried. From the health officer, acceptance of the continuation of local public health opioid grant funding. What is your pleasure?
So moved.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion? Yes, Joel. It's not very well.
That was actually submitted in error. It's actually, I would like to pull that one. However, the text of the next item under consideration is actually the text under the first item of consideration. So we're not looking to accept the opioid grant funding. We're actually looking to accept the continuation of the hepatitis A outreach grant funding, but the correct text is found on that, on the first memo with the acceptance of opioid grant funding, if that makes any sense to you.
No.
No, it didn't. Sorry. It was 11 o'clock at night when I submitted this last Wednesday, so.
Okay, so if we had a motion to accept the text of the opioid.
Yes, what we're asking is that we're asking to accept the continuation of the hepatitis A outreach grant funding for a total of $25,000.
Okay.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by the usual sign.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, same sign, carried. Agreement with Healthspace, cloud suite software upgrade for environmental health inspections. What is your pleasure?
Support.
Moved and supported. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by the usual sign.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, same sign, carried. From the Personnel Director, we have vacancies in 911, dispatcher, and supervisor. What is your pleasure?
So moved.
And move supported. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by the usual sign. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, carried. Medical leave absence for Richard Koch.
So moved. Support.
Been moved and supported. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by the usual sign. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, carried. Under D, the Director of Administration Services is Canine trainer.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion? Commissioner Krieger.
So, I guess I'm not going to support it. I'm having a hard time right now with what's going on in the economy, spending any money from general budget. So, I'm saying no. Thank you.
Commissioner Kuna.
Yes, sir. I'd like to get an explanation. I know we did something with Saginaw County, the jail, regarding these dogs. What was that prior to this particular?
Animal shelter having a partnership with Saginaw Animal Shelter, but I know Director Gillette could probably explain what happens inside the correction facility to train the inmates and to oversee the program. So our dogs, we've had 7 dogs over there for a while. And Craig, would you want to possibly pick up a microphone and maybe comment on Commissioner Coonan's question about a past relationship with Saginaw Animal Control?
Thank you. So the intent of the program that we entered into agreement with the Saginaw Correctional Facility was designed to train 6 dogs with handlers there at the prison. Historically, there's been a trainer oversee those animal handlers. I'm not sure what historically the individual was compensated through another entity, but here for our reasoning, we wanted to increase the adoption rate for those dogs that went through that program from $108 to $228, with the intent to be used to compensate the dog trainer to oversee the training program, assist the handlers with any questions that they may have, and also do a formal test at the very end of their training period, which lasts about 5 to 6 weeks.
So I think I still have.
Go ahead.
Oh, I don't.
Now, we did something in the past with them regarding these dogs,
Yeah,
right?
and I think, Commissioner Kernan, I can answer your question. We entered into a written contract with the Michigan Department of Corrections in order to engage in this training program with Saginaw Correctional Facility. As part of that contract with Saginaw Correctional Facility, we indicated in that contract that we would be providing an individual to oversee the program, and that individual would come into the facility. He would train the actual inmates who are training the dogs. He would be checking up on the progress of the dogs, and there would be a final training test at the end of their stay at the Saginaw Correctional Facility. This independent contractor agreement that we're asking for approval from is specifically referenced in that agreement with the Saginaw Correctional Facility. This would be the individual who is going to be doing the training of the inmates and monitoring the training of the inmates with the animals and be doing a test at the end of their training. There would be no additional money coming out of the general fund because the intent was to pay this trainer out of the additional fees that we are assessing for these dogs, because the dogs become more valuable once they go through the training. We can charge more money for the adoption fee, and the additional money that we're charging for the adoption fee basically just gets paid back to this trainer on a per dog basis. So it's cost neutral to the county.
I still got 6 dogs, right?
Yes.
And they're asking for what, $5,000?
No. I believe that that's the maximum amount of money for the year that we think would probably be spent, but the money that would be spent would not require a budget adjustment or requesting additional funds from the general fund. Those fees would be paid out of the increased adoption fee that we're charging for each animal. I think that there was some confusion with regard to the original submission, because what was included in the original submission was a request for a lump sum of money, and I think that that would have been better intended to say, this is the maximum amount that we think it's probably going to cost over the course of the year, but the amount that's going to be paid is actually going to be paid out of those increased adoption fees, so it's relatively cost neutral to the county. If we weren't doing the program, there wouldn't be a cost, but if we weren't doing the program, there wouldn't be an increase in adoption fees.
Now, there was, I read this, what's the $5,000 in there for? Is that what we approved?
I think that initially that was put in there as, this is what we estimate the maximum amount this person is probably going to be paid over the first year. I think it was just inartfully stated. We're not asking the board to approve $5,000 out of the general fund or a budget adjustment. We would be paying this individual out of the increased adoption fees that we're charging as a result of them going through the program. So it would be on a per adoption basis.
What's the additional cost?
I believe the original, I believe an initial cost for an adoption is $108, and we would be charging $228 for dogs that are adopted through this program.
So we already appropriated $5,000?
No.
No.
Commissioner Conan, could we address this through Jan? She's got some answers.
Adjustments because on both the revenue side, as the increased fees and the expense
How many dogs are we training?
7 every 90 days.
Right now, there's 6 out there. The intent is to run them through their 5-6 week course, test them, and then send out a new 6.
So between 60 and 70 dogs per year.
Right.
Commissioner,
I still have a question. It says in the resolution, the agreement would not exceed $5,000. So are we looking to continue to train dogs up to $5,000?
Yes, and I think that the reason that 5,000 was included in there again is we thought that that was the maximum that would be paid, because in this particular program, since we're just up and running, we're not going through them as fast as we normally would, so we anticipate that there's going to be a lower volume of dogs going through this first year that we're involved in the program. Next year, we may have to budget for more expected revenue coming in because of the increased adoption fees, and again, a budget notation that we're going to be making that expenditure as well. I think that what happened here was we just didn't account on the books for the increased adoption fees, and when you account on the books for an increase in revenue, you also have to put a matching accounting note for an expenditure as well.
That's assuming that you're able to get those fees, those additional fees for these dogs being trained.
That's correct, and if we don't get the fees, he doesn't get paid.
So we're not paying the trainer.
We're paying the trainer out of the increased adoption fees that we're charging per dog. If the dog doesn't get adopted, the trainer's not going to get paid. He only gets paid once we get the increased adoption fee for the dog. So we would still, as the county, receive $108 per dog. The additional amount that we're charging over that for each of these more trained dogs would go to the trainer.
Then let me just get this, then those dogs are trained and then they're adopted out.
Yes,
They don't stay at the correctional facility and work with the inmates.
correct.
Not after training.
Have we adopted any of them out yet?
We have not made it through the 6-week program yet because we don't have a trainer.
Why didn't we agree, or why wasn't that presented when we initially agreed to this?
It should have all been presented at the same time. I think at that point in time, we weren't certain if we were going to be going for an outside independent contractor or if someone at the shelter was sufficiently trained in order to do that service. The Michigan Department of Corrections has indicated to us that they want a trainer to do it and not someone from animal shelter.
That's why I asked the question, because I know we
Sure.
discussed this a while back.
Yes,
Trying to figure out what this is all about. It's somewhat confusing, so.
it is.
Commissioner Krieger.
I guess if I'm still confused, I'm not supporting it, but that being said, I know the project has value to it, but I have no guarantee that it's going to work, nor we're going to generate enough income. And I know you said that if we don't do the dogs, the trainer doesn't get paid. So where's the incentive then for this individual to continue with the program and not walk away in the middle because he's not being compensated?
The anticipation, obviously, is that the dogs will be adopted. However, we would be entering into an independent contractor agreement with this individual, indicating that he gets paid out of the adoption fees. If the dog is not adopted, he doesn't get paid. He understands that from the get-go. He's also the person who created this program with Michigan Department of Corrections, and he used to run it, I believe, with Saginaw Animal Control. So he's experienced in it. I think that he's not necessarily in this for the money. He's interested in keeping the program going, which is why he's willing to accept money paid out of the adoption fees.
Commissioner Grancher.
Just one question. So the trainer has agreed to take the approximately $100 per dog as his fee for training 6 dogs.
We have been in communication. That is the indication that he would accept this amount of payment for this period of time, yes.
And it would be $120 per dog.
And I had a discussion already with Craig that this should have been brought up as it was previously. We should have known this when the original resolution was passed, that there was going to be, a difference in the finances. So in the future, if you do something like that, I would appreciate,
Absolutely.
explain it, in depth financially. Thank you. That's all I have.
Seeing none, all in favor signify by the usual sign.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
No.
Carried. From the Office of Assigned Counsel, you have the 2019 year-to-date report. What is your pleasure?
Motion received. Support.
Moved and supported. All in favor signify by the usual sign.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. And the January 2020 report.
Support.
Moved and supported. All those in favor signify by the usual sign.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. Are there any referrals? Seeing none, unfinished business. Seeing none under new business, you have 5 resolutions before you. Resolution from the Treasurer's Office for reopening the drop box and the credit card processing fee.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by the usual sign.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. We have a resolution to hold our meetings here at the Community Center gym.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by the usual sign.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. We have a resolution for Board of Commissioners to conduct meetings via telephone, teleconference, interactive television, or other means of audio and visual communications. What is your pleasure?
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by the usual sign.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. We have a resolution of the county budget stabilization fund to be used at the administration's discretion to effectively combat the pandemic. What is your?
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Commissioner Coonan.
I was on that telephone conference today, and is this the issue that we could ask for additional money besides this, correct?
Should be sufficient to get us through to the end of the year. We don't know for sure, but we'll be very prudent in spending it. But we don't know exactly how much more disinfectant we'll need to keep the, basically the infrastructure of the county clean for the employees as well as the public. In addition, I think our personnel director has said we may have overtime costs to keep some of those essential services being provided to the public. And when someone isn't feeling well, they're going to be calling in, and we really can't take the chance of questioning them. Hopefully, if they don't feel well and they're symptomatic, they won't come into work. I know the governor's moving to extend unemployment benefits for some of our staff, but if you wouldn't mind, Commissioner Coonan and Chairman Ryder, maybe Tiffany would want to add to what I just mentioned in terms of what we would anticipate in the way of additional costs on operating the county during the situation that we currently have.
Sure. I think that there could be a myriad of different costs that the county could see. Some of those are not necessarily predictable, but we have a lot of overtime that's going to be expended. For example, I think that a lot of the health department employees are working around the clock, many days a week, a lot of overtime to try to combat this. In addition, we would like to staff up on the cleanliness and the disinfecting of the buildings. There could become a situation where if we have too much absenteeism, we may have to use a staffing agency or go out for temporary help to bring other people in to help clean the buildings, cover the different offices and those type of things. In addition, I think that there could be, okay.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by the usual sign.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, carried. And finally, we have the County Executive Jim Barcia's declaration of a local state of emergency. What is your pleasure?
Support.
Moved and supported. Executive Barcia, would you?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman Ryder. I just wanted to explain, we worked very closely with Joel Strauss and the Health Department. We know that on the 17th, 4 days ago, I think, we became aware of our first positive test for coronavirus in Bay County, but we know more additional people have been tested. We don't know what the results of those tests are. However, we moved to declare a state of emergency in Bay County. President Trump has already declared a state of emergency nationwide, and as you know, Governor Whitmer has declared a state of emergency statewide. So this will make Bay County eligible for all resources made available to municipal governments from the federal and state governments in Lansing and Washington. So all this does is declare what we have, a state of emergency, and that will make us eligible for resources. Director Strauss, did you want to add anything or on the state of emergency?
We'll be having a press conference after the board meeting, and I can give more extended remarks about what's currently taking place as well.
Thank you, Joel. Commissioner Drantek.
As the resolution states too, Mr. Barcia's state of emergency is good for 7 days, and this resolution also states that we will extend it until April the 14th, which is our next regular board meeting. That's all I have.
Very good. Any other questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by the use of sign. Aye. Opposed, same sign, carried. About miscellaneous, anything under miscellaneous? Seeing none, any announcements?
Mr. Chair, is the board addressing at Personnel and Human Services the proclamation requested by the Personnel Director regarding suspension of the collective bargaining agreements? I have it.
We can do that now, though, if you present it.
Would you like it now?
Yeah, please.
Could we do one of those?
Excuse me, I think we did do that one. I'm looking at, we had 5 resolutions.
We had the treasurer.
Yeah, this was the last resolution that we did.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Is there, Commissioner Dranchek, we got 5.
5. That's what I received.
Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Been moved, supported. All in favor signify by the usual sign. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. We're adjourned.